up the King versus the process. And the King is still the King. LeBron James has produced at least 15 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists in all 18 games this season. That's the second longest streak to start a season, behind his NBA record 22-game streak 9 years ago. As for that process, Joel Embiid putting up MVP-type numbers, averaging nearly 28 points per game, which is a career high. The Sixers' big man has posted 3 straight games at 30 points and 10 rebounds, but missed Monday's loss to the Pistons. And the Sixers have protected their home court. Philly has won 4 straight, 9 of 10 overall in the 215-610 area code. That's good for the best home winning percentage in the NBA this season. New on SportsCenter, Doc Rivers in the last hour.
I don't, but listen, John, honestly, I look at every game as a game of growth, and the game of measuring where you're at right now. Not necessarily because you're playing the Lakers, more because we're playing an NBA game, and at this point where you're at, how far you're behind because of all the stuff that has happened. I think every single team, every coach I talk to says the same thing. We're kind of trying to figure out where we are at right now, not where we are at against someone else. And so that's what I'm doing more right now.
SportsCenter with Stephen A. Smith coming up top of the hour right here on ESPN. Great to have Stephen A. joining us now. And Stephen A., what kind of, I know it's January, it's late January, but what kind of statement game is this for the Sixers tonight with the defending champs in town?
Well, they need to make some kind of statement against teams above 500. They haven't been that impressive. The only teams that they've beaten legitimately are the Boston Celtics in 2 games back-to-back, and Jason Tatum wasn't playing. They even lost the game to the Brooklyn Nets when they didn't have Kevin Durant, James Harden, or Kyrie Irving. So you've got to take that into consideration as well. It's just that the way that they're playing, they've elevated their level of defensive play. Joel Embiid has been a monster. Doc Rivers got him down in the post more. He's scoring more in the post, and as a result, they've been very, very formidable that way, particularly when you consider the fact that they've been surrounded by shooters. Tobias Harris is having a damn good season, playing like a max player. Seth Curry is a Curry. He's shooting over 55% from three-point range. He deserves a lot of credit. Ben Simmons has been struggling offensively, but we know what he can do on the defensive side of the ball. So when you look at their personnel and the way that they've been playing, there's a reason to be impressed. There's a reason to take them seriously. But when you go up against the reigning defending NBA champions led by LeBron James and Anthony Davis, and you've struggled to beat anybody of consequence thus far this season, especially without Embiid. You're losing to the Detroit Pistons the other day, for crying out loud. But if you win tonight's game, that definitely sends a message to the rest of the Eastern Conference that the Philadelphia 76ers indeed are coming, and everybody better look out for them.
Looking forward to it. Plenty more from Stephen A. between now and tip-off between the Lakers and the Sixers, 7:30 Eastern on ESPN.
Scored 4.
What did you say?
Yep, all good. How should we feel about LeBron being an MVP favorite?
I don't think we should have a problem with it. Obviously, I've been talking about Kevin Durant because Max has been talking about Joel Embiid, and Joel Embiid obviously deserves consideration, and Kevin Durant is averaging 30, after coming off an Achilles tear here. But we have to pay attention to LeBron James, and I don't mind him putting on 46 points against his old team, the Cleveland Cavaliers, basically saying, y'all must have forgot who the hell I am. Certainly he was aiming at somebody courtside sitting next to Cavs ownership that was applauding a miss, and then he put on the show in the fourth quarter. We all get that, but I would remind everybody he didn't really need to drop 46 that game to put his statement season on display. LeBron James is 36 years of age, y'all. 36 years of age. In his 18th season, he is averaging 25, 8, and 7. Okay? On 41% shooting from three-point range, which if he continued at this clip would be the best of his career. Max alluded to his game evolving and basically, just transforming before our very eyes, and that's all fine, good, and dandy. But he's leading the team in scoring. We know that he's your point forward. Everything runs through him. They've got the best record in basketball. They've got the best record in basketball. They're the number 1 seed in the West. They're the reigning defending NBA champions. And oh, by the way, they're undefeated on the road this season going into Philly tonight. And so when you take all of those things into consideration and we talk about an MVP, we do have to take into consideration numbers. We obviously take into strong consideration generation impact. But when you combine that with the results, meaning number one in the NBA, as in the best record, unblemished, undefeated, on the road, okay, averaging more points than Anthony Davis at this particular juncture, doing what he has done, and the fact that he's a four-time champion, the reigning NBA champion and NBA Finals MVP at the age of 36, and still doing what he's doing, I don't think it could be ignored, and I don't think we can summarily dismiss the man's greatness even at this particular moment in time. I ain't talking resume. I'm not talking longevity. I'm talking right now the way that he has been balling for the Los Angeles Lakers. The fact that he's in the conversation for league MVP is not only apropos, but very, very predictable.
Yeah, he's in the running. LeBron's a solid candidate. He's not the choice right now. If you're talking about the best player in basketball, who we all know based on what we keep seeing in the playoffs when it matters most, it's LeBron. We're not up to that yet. I'm the one saying, what are you talking about, regular season MVP? And then just the finals MVP. What about the whole playoffs? We should wait till the end of the finals, then give the MVP for the whole thing. Okay, but you argue actually no. We're talking regular season MVP. We need to incentivize teams. We need to give the paying customer, the fan, something to watch in the regular season. Well, okay, regular season MVP so far has been Joel Embiid. Embiid's the regular season MVP. Stephen A., over his last 5 games, he's averaging 33, 11, and 2 blocks. Joel Embiid shooting over that time 35% from 3. If you want to look at his season numbers, you can talk about points, rebounds, assists, blocks, steals, all those things, percentages, true shooting, all that kind of stuff. But PER is a good kind of shorthand for that. Embiid is leading the league, well above LeBron. There it is, 31.2. Where's LeBron on the list? So statistically, per game, Embiid has been better. Statistically, per game. But Stephen A., if you just eyeball it, Embiid has been a monster. Not only on the offensive end, but on the defensive end. A monster. Maybe the best player in the game defensively. And by the numbers per game, he's the best player in the game offensively. What else is there? There's defense and there's offense, but there's more. LeBron's played in all 18 games. His team is in first place. He is playing with AD, another MVP caliber player. As good as Simmons is, he's not that. LeBron's got AD. They're probably going to split the vote. They're in first place. So are the Sixers. Well, Embiid's only played in 14 games. It hasn't affected where his team is. They're in first place. Now, he has missed 4 games. Tightness in his back and everything. Okay. What happened in those 4 games? It hasn't hurt their position in the standings, in first place in the conference. And what you see when Embiid doesn't play, they don't just kind of barely lose. They get blown out by teams that they beat with Embiid. Stephen A., they have Dwight Howard. It's not like they don't have anything there.
You just hold on. So in other words, part of your argument, Dwight Howard, did you really just say that? Did you just?
I tried to bait you a little bit.
If we
but
talking
you saw
about
through
listen, and I apologize. I want to apologize because I don't mean any disrespect to Dwight Howard, who's a champion and played a pivotal role in the Los Angeles Lakers winning the chip last year. And I still think that Dwight Howard is a force defensively. But even in his prime, offensively, I thought he was more than what he actually was. His prowess was defensively. This dude was a monster on the boards. He was a monster shot blocker. He was a monster defender. No question about that. Offensively, his repertoire wasn't that deep. I always told Dwight Howard that. No disrespect. When we look at Joel Embiid and you see the offensive arsenal that he has at his display, the perimeter shooting, his back to the basket, facing the basket, putting the ball on the floor, shooting threes, all of this other stuff. It's on another level. But before I give it back to you, Max Kellerman, I want you to understand something. I understand that in reality, what you're really admitting to the public with this particular subject is what you should have admitted just publicly, just to come out and flagrantly said it. You leave the basketball knowledge to me. That's what you should be doing. Because, Max Kellerman, you got a whole bunch of holes in your argument, but here is the biggest one. And put me up on that split screen, please, because I want to look at Max, and I want to look at his face when I'm saying this to him. Max Kellerman, you know, you're a very busy man, and maybe you haven't watched the games. Because, Max Kellerman, I must tell you, Who the hell have the Sixers beaten? Miami's struggling with a slew of injuries. I got Victor. The Toronto Raptors ain't what they should have been. The Washington Wizards, don't get me started. The Orlando Magic, these are teams that they've beaten here. Okay, the 2 victories that they had back-to-back against the Boston Celtics, Jason Tatum didn't play those games. And that's basically the only above 500 team they've beaten thus far. I'm not disrespectful of the Philadelphia 76ers. I believe in them. I believe they're title contenders. Love the fact that Doc Rivers is there. Daryl Morey's going to be on my NBA show, SportsCenter with Stephen A. tonight with me. Okay. Embiid, Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris is balling. Seth Curry is a Curry. Okay. He's officially a Curry, shooting damn near 60% from three-point range. This brother's special right now. But the bottom line is, Max, if you look at the level of competition they've been going against thus far, it's pretty suspect. That has a lot to do with how they're 12-6 right now. Having just come off a loss to the worst team in basketball in Detroit. Pay attention.
Right. Whoa. Right. Pay attention. They came off a blowout loss to the worst team in basketball when Embiid doesn't play. When he does play, they beat those same teams. Embiid does not choose the schedule. And I want to get back to Dwight Howard for a second. Dwight Howard was useful for the Lakers last year. But there are several ways you could talk about MVP. Who's just been the best? Embiid has the best offensive numbers, and he's at the very least among the very best defenders in the game this year. What kind of an impact does he have on the team? His team is in first place in the conference. Stephen A., you're right.